Welcome back, everybody. My name is Taylor Martin. This is the best Damn EDC, and today I would like to talk to you about a knife that is coming out this fall that I'm very excited about. It is from one of my favorite knife designers, period, Jesper Voxnæs, and this is the Urban EDC F5.5. I want to talk to you about what this knife has to offer, what you can do if you want to pre-order one, and some of the changes that are going to be present in the production version over these prototypes that Urban EDC Supply sent me. So with that said, let's do the damn thing. So here we are with the Urban EDC F5.5, designed by none other than Jesper Voxnæs. And if this design looks familiar to you, that's because this was evolved from the F5, which is a custom from Jesper. There are some differences between this and the F5 though. This one is slightly smaller, and it also is a liner lock instead of a titanium frame lock. Some people may not like the fact that this is a liner lock. I'm never gonna be one to hate on a liner lock because they do actually have some advantages over a frame lock. For instance, this right here is a very small example. So this is the transient micro from HMC, and with this it's very natural to want to hold it like this and try to flip, but when you do, you're putting pressure on the lock bar and you can't flip. It becomes very, very difficult, if not impossible to flip, because you're putting pressure on the detent. You're essentially locking it closed, right? So you have to move your finger up to what is kind of an unnatural position and then flip it. You can see I don't have as good of grip because of that. With a liner lock, you don't have the issue because there is a buffer between your finger and the lock, so you can't actually be putting pressure on the lock while trying to flip it open. All I'm saying is that if you are concerned with a liner lock not being the best choice here, I can't say that I necessarily agree. Liner locks, frame locks, both have their places. What you are getting with this knife, however, is a 2.7-inch sheep's foot blade. So that is a little shorter than the F5, which was, I think, a little bit over 3 inches, like 3 inches and a quarter on the blade length. Your handle length or close length is 4 inches and overall is 7 inches. I think the F5 was a little bit over 7 inches. I think maybe actually closer to 7 3/4. Don't quote me on that. But what you are getting is a 2.7-inch sheep's foot blade in M390. This also came in LMAX when the early pre-orders opened. The LMAX is totally sold out. You can't get that one anymore. So if you're pre-ordering now, you're looking at an M390 blade. That is a full flat grind. It is very slicey despite being a pretty thick stock. That is 4 millimeters or 0.16 inches for your stock thickness. I really like the sheep's foot blade here. It's a very, very practical and utilitarian blade shape. And you do have a full finger choil here for better grip, and that jimping on the spine is exactly where you would expect it to be. And of course, thumb hole or spidey hole, whichever you want to call it, opening this thing is no problem. The action is absolutely fantastic. It's very, very drop shutty. I am a fan of what they're doing with this knife. And you also may notice that I have two on the table here. I have a full titanium handled version and a micarta version. There are two different micarta versions. This is the natural or brown micarta. There's also an OD green, and then you have titanium. Obviously, there are gonna be some weight differences between these. The micarta being about 2.8 ounces and the full titanium being 4.25 ounces. So definitely noticeably heavier, but it definitely feels more sturdy in the hand. Now, one thing I should note is that these are prototypes, so they're not the finished versions. There are gonna be some differences in this. And one thing that you can see if you look down in here, not sure if you can see it on the camera, but there is no liner on the show side. This is only showing a liner on the lock side, and I actually spoke to Jesper this morning, and I'm actually reshooting this because I didn't know this until just now. The final version will have a liner on both sides, so you'll have a dual liner, and they're also gonna make another change in that there's gonna be a little more milling here, or chamfering, or opening up the lock interface so you can actually get to it a little better, because it is a little difficult to get to. It's not bad. It's actually kind of similar to the Grand that I have here, also designed by Vox. You have no cutout here for your liner lock. It's still easy to get to because there's jimping. Same thing here, but they are gonna open that up just a little bit more so you can get to it a little easier. And the other change is that there is gonna be a logo. There is no branding. These are totally sterile right now. I'm not sure if they're gonna show what blade steel it is, most likely, but there is a custom logo that I don't know what it looks like yet. It's a custom Vox and Urban EDC Compass logo. I'm not sure if it's gonna be on the blade or if it's gonna be like the F5 and have it right here between the body screws on the handle. My guess is blade because you have micarta versions and it's not going to show up very well on micarta. So my guess is that it will be lasered into the blade somewhere. I don't know. those are minor details. The big detail is that this is gonna be opened up a little more so you can get to that lock bar a little better, and there's gonna be a dual liner. So that doesn't really matter on the titanium version, but on the Micarta versions, it will give it some more stability. Even though without a liner, you can see here, part of the problem that people have with having a single liner is flexibility in the handle. You can see like it does move a little bit, but it is still a very tough Micarta. Adding that liner will make it a little more rigid, and it will add weight. So this 2.8 ounces is going to go up when you add that second liner. Not much, but it will go up. So this is on ceramic bearings, and it has a ceramic detent, and there are some washers in there as well. Really buttery smooth action on both of these. The Micarta seems to be a little bit better in the action department, but I also think that this pivot screw is a little loose because there's just a little blade wiggle, and I just think it needs to be tightened just a hair, which would also probably cinch up that centering. This one is perfectly centered, and the detent is very tight. The action is really good, but the thing to note is that these are prototypes, so I never really like to judge quality control on prototypes because they're just there for reference. They're not meant to be production models. So just noting a few things here. So you do also get a full titanium backspacer on both and a lanyard hole right here at the end of the knife. And then the clip is something that I want to focus on just a little bit. It looks nice. It's pretty deep carry. I like that it is milled into the scale on both titanium and Micarta. The screws do stick out just a little bit, which is not really that big of a deal. This is not going to be a pocket shredder is the main point there, but the clip itself is kind of weak feeling. It's a very thin titanium. I don't know, the verdict's still out on it for me. So this one feels a little more tight than the one on the titanium knife here. This one feels very tinny, very, very weak. You could probably just take this off, flip it around, and bend it a little to increase that tension. But this is a prototype, it's not mine, it's gotta go back, and I'm not gonna do that to a knife that isn't mine for keeps. So yeah, question that I have is whether this clip can be tightened or if it's always gonna feel that tinny and weak. I don't know, but I did hear from Jesper this morning that this is the final clip. So just keep that in mind. All right, so let's wrap this up with some size comparisons. Here I have a Paramilitary 2, which you can see is considerably larger than the 5.5. I also have a Para 3 lightweight, which is also larger. So if you think the Para 3 is a little small, the 5.5 is gonna be a little bit smaller than that. And then I think a good size comparison here would also be the bug out, because I know a lot of you have bug outs. It's smaller than the bug out. Now the thing is, it fits in the hand so beautifully. The knife that I would say is probably most like this in size would be the Banter from We Knives or Ben Peterson, and that is because the blade size is about the same. The blade on the Banter is a little longer, but your handle is still a full 4-finger grip. There's no problem getting a full grip on that, and same with this. The handle size is about the same. You do have that forward choil still, but it's just that this knife kind of fills the hand a lot better than other knives with this blade shape. Same goes for the Banter, and what I want to explain that with is a knife that's similarly sized is the Civivi Elementum. It's a little bit longer, but it still doesn't fit in the hand quite as well. You can still get a full 4-finger grip, but it feels much smaller than the F5.5 or this one. I think this is a really good example. I showed this a little earlier. This is the Transient Micro from HMC. Both of these knives have blades very similar in length. This is a 2.5, this is a 2.7, and just look how much different they are in physical size. And I know this is probably a bad comparison. I'm just saying that a lot goes into the overall design of the knife, not just the blade length. That's the important thing. The entire design and shape, the profiles and the way that things are contoured matter a lot in how a knife feels. This does not feel like a small knife, even though it is a 2.7-inch blade. It feels considerably larger than the Banter, and it's really not that much larger than the Banter. And just for the sake of doing it, we have 3 Vox designs here on the table. We have the Vox Dapper, the F5.5, and the Giant Mouse Ace Grand. And I guess to wrap this up, we should talk about price. The titanium version of the F5.5 is gonna set you back $249, while the Micarta variants in either natural or OD will set you back about $199. Now, if you go to the website, you're gonna see it says from 99 and from 149. That's actually left over from the original pre-order where it was some money down and you pay the rest later. That is not the case anymore. This is like a second pre-order. They kept it running, because it was a very popular model, so they wanted to do another run, this time only in M390, no more LMAX, and it is pay up front. So you have to pay in full at the time that you place your order. So $249 on the titanium, $199 on the Micarta versions. These are set to ship late fall, and I'm very excited to carry one of these myself. I did not actually carry these because they're prototypes and I don't want to mess them up, so I didn't really put these through their paces. I just wanted to tell you guys about them, but I am very happy to learn that the Micarta version is getting that second liner and that there are some other changes coming to these. But the thing that I'm most concerned with, obviously, is that clip, and I guess time will tell if it's going to be the same or if just fine-tuning it yourself will fix how weak it feels, especially on this titanium one. There you have it. That is the Urban EDC F5.5 designed by Jesper Voxnes. That's gonna do it for this video. If you found it helpful and you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that thumbs up button down below and subscribe to see more stuff like this in the future, and hit that notification bell so you're notified when I upload new videos. If you wanna support what I'm doing here, hit the link down below. You can go visit Urban EDC Supply. It is an affiliate link. I will be linking all of these F5.5s as well as some other stuff I really like over on their website. If you click through and purchase anything using those links, you are supporting what I do here, and you can also support what I'm doing by going to patreon.com/bestmedc or going to carrycommission.com or carry.best. That is my store. You can buy gear and merch directly from me. This shirt isn't quite available. This is just a sample, but these will be available very soon. Also, be sure to follow us around the web. You can find us in most places at Best Damn EDC. There's a Facebook group and a Discord server. They're both linked down below. And of course, until next time, carry on.